And welcome back to my channel. Unless you are new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And we are going to finish off this little spotlight block with a movie that is definitely going to be in the top 5 of my 2025 list, and that is Bring Her Back. Very cool little release, little side slip, interesting booklet. Wait, doesn't this have, yeah, this has got little poster boards in it, lobby cards, really cool. Really cool shit. But Bring Her Back. There's another one. Ooh, that was scary. Bring Her Back was released in 2025. It's the second movie of the guys who brought you Talk to Me. Talk to Me won whatever year it came out, 23, 24, whatever it was. It was my number one movie of that year. It was released in 2025. It was directed by Danny and Michael Philippou. It was written by Danny Philippou and Bill Heinzman, and it stars Billy Barratt, Sally Hawkins, and Jonah Wren Phillips, who plays Oliver, or Connor. So yeah, this movie scared the shit out of me in an appropriate fashion. Just like Talk to Me did. I think Talk to Me was scarier than this, but this was scarier in a whole nother way. This definitely falls into the body horror category. It's listed super psychological, supernatural, body horror, and horror, which is true, all of it. But this movie opens where we're seeing what looks like a VHS of some really disgusting looking cultic type ritual that is being performed on someone. And then we are introduced to Piper, who is a legally blind girl, and her stepbrother, Andy. They come home from school to find their dad. What did he die of? I don't know what he died of, but he was laying there outside of the shower, and he was dead, very, very dead, and looked like he had vomit all over him. So, I mean, I don't know, alcohol. I thought heroin overdose. That's what I thought when I saw it. But I don't recall if it was ever really explained, but it looked like vomit all over him. It was disgusting. That's all I can tell you. But it's what it looked like to me, is like a heroin overdose or something. So they find him dead, and they are then taken into foster care, child custody, where they are going to place Piper at this woman called Laura, and they are going to put him in a supervised unit because back when he was a kid, 8 or 9, he had gotten into some trouble, and she didn't want to have anything to do with any troubled kids, I guess. But he complains, she complains, and they beg, and so they're like, okay, well, we'll give it a try. So they go and they move in with this Laura person who you can tell from the very beginning, I could anyway, I was like, and I don't really, movies that like this, I'm not going to research them, anything. I want to get it fresh, so, but I could tell at the beginning that she was weird. I'm like, there's something up with this lady, And as they get used to it, doesn't start out great. She seems to be all over Piper, but she's like begrudgingly but nicely, treats Andy. But then there's that part where she like looks in his phone. But he had went outside and he found this little boy was out there that she says his name was Oliver. And it's like, that is one of the creepiest kids I've ever seen in my life. Especially the way that they had his hair and everything that accentuated his doe eyes and his head shape. And it was just like, it was like, he was scary for no reason. He was just scary. He was a scary looking little kid. As we see them sort of settle in, things are a little inappropriate. She like acts inappropriate, letting them get drunk and stuff like that. What kind of foster parent is that? I mean, that little girl is what, 12? And it's only for 3 months, supposedly, because he's going to turn 18 in 3 months and can apply for guardianship over her. So, biologically, they're step siblings. His dad married her mother, and I guess both of them are dead now, so he's the only thing to take care of her. So, this Oliver kid, he gets weirder and weirder as well. Very, very spooky. You begin to find out about her having a daughter prior to this named Kathy. And Kathy was drowned. She drowned in the pool that's in the backyard. So we keep seeing Laura on occasion going back, and now we know that tape from the beginning was her watching it. So she's got these VHS tapes with some kind of ritual being performed, and it's not a pretty one either. It's some midsummer shit. Involving what looks like a dead person, and they killed another person that same way. It all gets explained in the end, though. So, her and Piper go to the store. I'm just going to hit the big scenes of this mystery. So, there comes a time when her and Piper, they like go to the store and leave him alone there. And he goes up to talk to Oliver to like get to know him or something, I mean, after all, this is his new foster brother, right? And he can't get in. She's locked him in. And he goes and picks the lock to get in there to him. And gets him out, takes him downstairs. And that's some of the first body horror stuff starts when he wants him to, like, can I give you something to eat? And that's the only thing he responds to. It's like this kid wants to eat, but he can't eat. And a couple of times he had, like, indicated that because he don't speak. And Laura had asked him, you can't eat yet. It's not time yet. You're like, what the fuck? This bitch is crazy. So, he like cuts him a piece of melon and something, and he turns around to get a plate to put it on, and then you hear it, like the kid like takes the knife with the melon on it, and that's when he turns around and is like going to get him a plate, and instead the kid, he hears the sound of metal on teeth. And he turns around and the kid is like trying to eat the knife, and it's up in it's cutting him. It was fucking nasty. Right? It was like nasty in the nth degree. and he's freaking out. And he tries to take him to the hospital, and the kid is screaming and screaming. And that's when you kind of notice, I mean, you had noticed a little bit, but now it was like really started to notice that there was this big, giant white circle around the house, like out there in the middle of the driveway, all the way around the house was like, it was about that wide, and it was like white powder, like almost like cement mixture, you know? So when he actually crossed that barrier trying to get him to the car, kid freaked the fuck out. And Laura and Piper pulled up, and she freaked the fuck out, took him back in there. And this is the first time you ever heard the kid say anything, because when she had him up there in the bed, he was like crying and saying, who are you and where am I? And stuff like that. And she grabs the tape and starts watching the tape. And so that's when you're like, okay, this is okay. I get it. All right. She is doing this. She's trying to do this ritual, right? And she knows how to calm the spirit down or whatever it is. And he goes back into his mute trance, you know. And you start really thinking about all that you've seen and start putting together this horrible story. Because you've seen a bunches of pieces of this tape, right? So now that things are coming to fruition, you start kind of figuring out all of the little hints that she's dropping about the rain and not quite time yet and stuff like that. And what is it? He slips in the shower. Andy slips in the shower. And when he sees a vision of his dead father saying that, telling him that Piper is going to die, that was a grotesque scene as well. His dead father. The funeral scene was weird too, where she made him kiss his forehead and stuff. Like I said, there's lots of weirdness in this movie. But now that you're starting to figure it out while he's in hospital from getting the bump, you know, the concussion, she starts like stepping up her plan, because I think it's time. And you actually get to see the whole video, the whole VHS video. And so what it is it's a ritual, because you've also heard her belief. She holds the belief that the spirit stays in your body for months after death before it dissipates, before it goes away. During that time, somehow, she has run across these people and their beliefs that this ritual can bring back the dead through this certain ritual. And that is, let me see if I can explain the ritual to you. The person dies. You then, through the use of this ritual, get their spirit out of their body into you, into that person. Then that person must consume the old body. So this person that has now been magicked into this ritual and is being used as a vessel devours the old body, and through its digestion and magic then transfers that spirit into a new body, and you have your loved one back. But the person that you put that into must die the same way that the victim died. So, okay. So now you've figured it out, right? She has kidnapped Oliver, because when he goes to the police and he's sitting there waiting to see the foster care lady, He's sitting there waiting for her, and he sees a poster on the wall, a missing kid poster. And it's for this boy named Connor. And when he goes and looks at it, it's this kid. It's Oliver. So he goes in there and he tells her, Diane, this foster lady, that this kid is at her house, that she's crazy, that this stuff is going on. Now, like I said, we understood the ritual, and that was that she, through foster care, wanted to get this girl, Piper. She kidnapped Oliver to use him as the vessel and got him mesmerized in this ritual. When the time was right, she would kill Piper the same way that her daughter died, which is drowned her in the pool. And then she would have Oliver, after he can finally eat and consume the body of Kathy, and then regurgitate it into the body of Piper, and she would have Kathy back. So you're like, that's some diabolical, evil shit right there. Crazy shit. So Andy and Diane, they come back. He gets her to at least listen to him, and he comes back. And she goes in there to see Laura and is like, look, he's saying about this kid, and he shows her the poster, the picture. He's saying that this kid is here, and I don't know what we're going to do with him. You know, he's like, you know, he's just like, thinks all this stuff is going on. And she had really hurriedly tried to clean up the house from all the craziness that had just went place, because Oliver, he's it's time, right? He took a bite out of the bar, you know, like your countertop. He took a bite out of that, and he had bitten a big chunk out of her arm, Laura's arm. So she had finally took him out there and was letting him eat Kathy in the freezer, because her body was in the freezer out there in the cottage. So Diane's in there talking to her, and she's trying to act all normal, and she almost gets away with it, because Diane turns around to leave, and then she did something and scratched her face, you know, touched her face, and there was blood on it. And that's how Diane saw all of this blood on it, and was like, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? What's going on? Well, she gives up. She loses it right there, Laura. And she tells her, look, you know, you've known me for a long time. I can bring her back. I can bring Kathy back. Freaks her the fuck out. So Diane starts running. Andy calls to her outside, because he's gotten out the car and went back there and caught Oliver eating that frozen dead body out there. They both see that. He takes her out there and shows her that, and they start running like you would to the car. And they almost make it, and then she runs him over with the SUV. Now, at the end, we'll talk about the one and only problem I had in this movie. Danny and Michael, if you ever listen, I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. But, because it cost you a 10 out of 10. Like you give a fuck. Like anybody gives a fuck. I'm nobody, I understand that. But it is what it is. So she runs over and just smishes Diane. And then she had hit Andy too, and he's laying there in a mud puddle. And he is badly, badly hurt. Like not going to get up without medical help kind of hurt. And she turns his face down and drowns him. And I'm like, that can't be. That's not cool at all. You know. But okay, we'll just move on. So she's killed them. She drags them in the house because Piper, you know, she goes and picks Piper up. And then Piper finds his body. because she can tell something's going on. She may be blind, but she can tell something's going on. She gets away from her, hides herself, and locks herself in the room. Happened to be the room where she had put Andy's body, and she finds him and can feel his hair and feel the stuff and know that something is wrong. And the whole time I'm hoping that Andy will get back up and, be alive. But she finally does get in, knocks her out, takes her out there to the pool. Oliver, of course, is like got this big gut where he's eaten a large amount of Kathy's body. He's standing there in the pool with her while she tries to drown Piper. But Piper does come up with a good distraction. And that was, while she's in the middle of drowning her, she comes up for air and she does what that lady had asked her to do multiple times, and that is, you can call me Mom. So she yells Mom, which definitely throws her off guard, right? It definitely stops the momentum. It throws her off guard. This allows her to get away. And she takes off running and runs right into Oliver. Oliver and her fight for a second, but she gets away from him too. Well, it's too late. The time is passing, right? And he's already just falling on the ground, upchucking the spirit of Kathy. Meanwhile, Laura has she's given up. She knows it's done. So she goes in there and she gets what's left of the body of Kathy. And then she rips her own, that big giant wound in her arm. She goes ahead and rips it more because she knows she'll bleed to death. Then she gets Kathy, takes her to the pool, and then bleeds out while holding Kathy in the thing. Now Connor, or Oliver, Piper gets away and he can see that she's down there in the road and someone stops and picks her up. And that's when he sees the circle and he goes and throws himself outside the circle, which allows the rest of all of that Kathy so he's not in the ritual anymore. And then the cops show up because Piper tells and the cops show up and they go and find Connor back there because that's his real name. So they find Oliver / Connor back there, and he is crying. He's lucid. He's hurt badly, but he's crying and lucid and screaming, where am I? What's going on? Help me, help me. So he's going to be all right. Well, aside from a lifetime of therapy, you're not going to ever be all right when you've got a tattoo on they put a tattoo on your face. And so that's going to remind you forever. Well, unless you have it removed. Anyway, I digress. But I really don't think that you're going to eat the frozen body of a dead girl and not have to have therapy for the rest of your life or something like that. Unless you've watched way too many horror movies and can just go whatever. But so Connor is saved by the police. She is dead in the pool with that, and Piper is sitting lonely staring at the stars in the plane going over, which represents what Andy had told her about heaven and hell, that your dad, you don't go anywhere. You just sort of go somewhere else. You just leave on a plane. And the movie ends. Definitely don't know where it will go in my top 5. Because its two main contenders are kind of unshakable. So I don't know. It's going to be difficult. But I gave this movie a 9.4 out of 10 when it would have been a 10 out of 10, and let's get into that. How did this film lose its 10 out of 10? It lost its 10 out of 10 because you decided you just wanted to be mean. You just wanted to be mean Danny and Michael, Philippou, you just wanted to be mean because there is no real, logical, story-driven reason for you to have killed Andy. There's no reason whatsoever. It did not forward the plot. It was not part of the ritual. It was not for any reason except to be mean. The other Diane, she had to kill her because she was going to go tell. She was perfectly fine. You had blindsided Andy. He was unmovable. You understand? He was not going to go and tell. He could not do anything to interfere in the next 10 minutes of this movie, which was the final ritual, or her attempt at completing the final ritual. That boy would have never gotten up without medical assistance. Pure and simple. You ended up, so there was no story reason for it. There was no plot reason for it. It was just mean. And I know people are laughing right now. But it was an absolutely... Do you realize how mean that was to Piper? Her mom's dead. Her dad is dead. She's fucking blind. He was her only protector. And you killed him off without any story-driven reason for doing so. It did not further the plot, interfere in the plot, help the plot in any way, shape, or form. It was just a mean thing to do to Piper, a mean thing to do to Andy, a mean thing to do to the audience. There was no reason. You've left her blind to navigate this world after her trauma, and you took her only family member that she had left away for no reason in the plot whatsoever, and that pissed me off. Now, I upscale, like on International Movie Database, it's 10 out of 10, right? Well, I always round up because horror is hated and everybody bombs it and everybody hates it, you know. So if on paper I give a movie a 6.4, then it's going to get a 6 because I round up. But if it gets a 6.5, then I can round up and it gets a 7, score-wise, for the points. So, to give you a 9 out of 10 on International Movie Database, how petty. To give you a 9 out of 10, instead of a 10 out of 10, I gave you a 9.4, so I don't round up, I round down. And that's because you were just fucking mean to kill Andy. There's people out there laughing right now. I see you. And you're like going, oh my God. Fucking movie collectors and their shit. But I'm sorry. Even if you two motherfuckers came on here and did a live stream with me, I guarantee you cannot convince me of a reason why killing Andy and leaving Piper alone and what that served in the movie. Every other death, every other act was all explainable. It all served a purpose. It was all horrific. The horrible shit that was done to Oliver or Connor, the horrible shit that was done, the plans, the plots, the evil shit that she did to Andy, to get rid of him, to try to get rid of him, to make him look terrible. All the shit that was done to all of the people was completely part of the plot. vital to the plot. That's the reason why her reaching down and drowning him, and it being for good and real, was just unacceptable. It was just wrong. It was the wrong thing to do. It was a very mean and it was just very mean. It was a mean thing to do to the audience. And there was no reason to leave that little girl with no family whatsoever. After all that she had been through. And after all that Andy had been through, he didn't deserve that. I mean, at least you weren't assholes enough to kill Oliver, for God's sakes. I mean, I guess we can have small favors, right? Thanks for small favors there. But like I said, I don't think that even if both of you were to sit here and tell me to my face why you thought that killing Andy had anything to do with the plot of this movie. How did it help it? How did it forward it? What justified it? There you go. What is your justification for killing Andy? What did it do? What did it mean? Certainly wasn't to make her evil, because, honey, her drowning him was nothing compared to the evil she's done in this movie to other people. So it certainly wasn't to make her bad. She was already that in spades. So, yeah. That's my little rant. It got a 9.4 for killing Andy. Otherwise, it is a fucking masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. I don't think that you're going to take the top of this year, though. Because there's two other contenders. And you might could unseat number 2 and be number 2. And it be number 3. But I'm not sure. But the first one is just so fun that I don't think that... So far, I haven't seen anything. I think there's still a couple. I mean, Dangerous Animals has just come out, has been released, so I'll get it next movie order. And Weapons has been released physically. So I'll get both of those, and those are still contenders for the top list. So I'll have to see them to know. But yeah, you definitely lost your 10 out of 10. Otherwise, it is a 10 out of 10, but you just shouldn't have killed Andy. Unless you can send me a letter or a video blog or something to explain to me what the fuck you think justified that, because it didn't. Otherwise, trust me, folks, this movie is scary as fuck. The body horror is real. The fear is real. It's masterpiece writing, except for that. It's masterpiece writing, masterpiece cinematography. The visuals. This movie scared the shit out of me, is what it did. It was a very, very scary, psychologically in your brain scary. And after seeing Yellow Brick Road, it's like I didn't need my brain fucked with. I watched this right after Yellow Brick Road, and I'm like, what? Am I going to have any psychological sense left to see two brain mindfuck movies back to back? But I got over it. It's alright. I just drank a root beer and ate some spaghetti, and I was cool. So, I will see you in the next thing I do. The next batch has already been chosen. And I'll try to get around to them when I can. I really appreciate any time you spend with me. I love talking about movies. I hope that on occasion I bring something to your attention that you've never heard of, and give a shot and find out that there was this little hidden gem there that you didn't know about that thrilled you, because I know how much that thrills me. And I will see you in the next thing I do. Love you, miss you. Bye-bye. Always remember, and never forget, you are a very, very, very special person. No matter what anybody says about you, they're lying if they don't agree that you are a very special person. Bye-bye.